you are sacrificing your health for something that tastes good for 30 seconds. So the cake tastes good. Maybe it takes you a few minutes to eat it, right? You are sacrificing your health for something that is a few minutes of pleasure.
You're listening to Flip Empire, the show committed to helping real estate entrepreneurs who want to build their empire without sacrificing their life. Your success and freedom starts now with your host, Alex Pardo.
Welcome back, my friends, to episode 764. My name is Alex Pardo. If this is your first time listening to the Flip Empire show, I'm super grateful that you have found this podcast, and hopefully you can continue to plug into this week in, week out. We are releasing podcast episodes every single Monday morning. And we have, again, this is episode 764. So we have covered anything and everything you can imagine under the sun when it comes to all things real estate investing, lifestyle design, just achieving freedom as an entrepreneur, team building, marketing, and so much more. And on today's podcast, you know, as the show continues to evolve, I'm just super I'm just filled with gratitude that I get to interview some of the wisest people and some of the sharpest minds across different industries, not just real estate investing. And today it's actually a crossover episode because I'm interviewing Sean Christopher. And Sean comes from the world of real estate, super successful real estate investor, has done a lot of deals throughout the years. But I don't quite know that real estate was his calling, right? Sean is actually a health and wellness expert. And he is somebody who personally works with entrepreneurs, real estate investors, helping them achieve healthier lifestyles, because it's been said that without health, there's no way we can achieve wealth, right? And one of the saddest things that I've experienced is seeing people who are very, very successful in one aspect of their life, let's call it financial, but yet their health is suffering. And it's been said that that men have many wishes, but a sick man only has one, right? And so health is wealth, guys, right? Without our health, it's going to be very difficult to go out and accomplish the things that you are likely wanting to accomplish. And I know that you are somebody who is a high achieving, you're ambitious, you have goals because you're listening to me. You plug into this podcast. And so that tells me all I need to know. And on today's podcast, Sean is going to reveal the simple 3 things that you need to avoid in order to just live a healthier lifestyle. We have a really fun conversation. Sean is somebody who's filled with energy, has a genuine desire to want to help people, specifically entrepreneurs. So while this particular episode might be a little different than what you might be used to, if you are someone who's subscribed to the Flip Empire show and who are used to coming here for real estate investing content, marketing, team building, lifestyle design, and everything in between, this quite possibly might be one of the most important podcasts you listen to all year. Because it talks about your health. And obviously, I don't have to sell you the importance of your health. So, my friend, with that being said, we're about to listen to Sean talk about health and wellness. And this is actually going to be part 1 of a 2-part series with Sean, because aside from being a health and wellness expert, the guy is a stud and a ninja when it comes to leveraging social media to build your brand, to grow your business, no matter what kind of business. He's actually got some of his reels have gone viral and to the tune of north of 12 million, 13, 14 million views per video. That's actually going to be part 2. So make sure that you stay connected here and that you're subscribed so that every single Monday morning, you know when a new show is going to be released. So guys, with that being said, let's hop right into episode 764 with my buddy, Sean Christopher. All right, guys, Flip Empire community, I got my buddy Sean Christopher in the house today. And guys, this is going to be a different feel and vibe for the podcast. Now, why do I say that? So Sean and I have actually been in each other's like network / ecosystem for a number of years, but it wasn't until maybe a month to 2 months ago or so that we actually got connected through a mutual friend, Tom Kroll. And Sean is just a guy, man, that's high energy, good dude. He's got a big heart, wants to serve, wants to give, and has a real estate background. So he knows the game. He knows wholesaling. He knows fix and flip. But that's not really, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I don't think that's probably why God put him on this earth. It's not to do real estate.
You're right.
But it's been said that health is wealth, and that the sick man, the rich man has many wishes. The sick man or woman only has one, right? And that's health. So with that being said, Sean and I were just talking offline, and For those of you who don't know Sean, he's in the health and wellness space, and he is just a wealth of knowledge, no pun intended. The guy just knows so much about living a healthy lifestyle. Like, what are the foods we need to be putting in our bodies, protecting your mind, just everything in the health and wellness space. Like, the guy's just a ninja, and the guy is a beast when it comes to social media, right? So if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see what I mean. I mean, the guy's reels get 10, 20, 30, in some cases over 100,000 views, if not more. I think he's got one reel that went viral that I don't know how many millions of views.
12 million.
12 million views. So 12 million views, guys, on one reel. So
and that's actually common for me, believe it or not.
Okay, so the average is in the millions. So I'm underselling the guy here. So
yeah, that's okay, bro. It's okay, man. It's okay.
Dude, here's the point. I wanna stick the medicine in the cheese, so to speak, for the audience. And me having your best interest at heart, guys, I want to give you what you need while also giving you what you want. And I
love it.
I think what you need is, let's spend some time talking about health, because as entrepreneurs, we need energy in order to accomplish our goals and do the big things we want to do. And more importantly, we need to be there for our loved ones. We need to be there for our family. We need to be able to show up as the best versions of ourselves. So I'm going to start the episode with health, even though that might not be what you want. That's my attempt to shove the medicine in the cheese. And then at some point, we're going to transition into some social media stuff, because I really believe that what Sean has to offer can help you explode your business.
Yeah.
Brother, health, it's such a wide range. Like, there's so many schools of thought. There's so many like diets out there and fads and do this and don't do that. And there's so many conflicting opinions in my experience, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's start big picture. How do I think everybody here understands that health is important, right? I don't think we have to sell anybody on that. How do we need to think and approach our health on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, absolutely. Alex, first of all, man, thank you, brother. I have so much respect for you, man. I've been following you over the years. Funny story about Alex. He kicked me out of his Facebook group about 7 years ago.
Man. Dude, I knew you were going to go there. And okay.
I had to go there, man.
You had to. Hey, if I was in your shoes, I'd be like giving me crap about it. So, guys, in all fairness, my buddy Adrian, who was like my COO and my right hand in our wholesaling operation years ago, we decided to start a private Facebook group called Smart Wholesalers. And he was the admin. He was running it. And we had some very strict rules. And Adrian don't play. So Sean,
I broke the rules. I'll be honest, I broke the rules.
Sean broke a rule. I didn't know Sean back then, and he got booted. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But either way, funny story, man. Awesome to have you on.
It'll always be a funny story in our friendship because it's funny, and it's just funny. But for the record, guys, I did actually break the rules, so he did have the right to kick me out. But man, I wasn't happy about it, man. That's okay. It's okay. God is good.
All good, man. So yeah, dude, the health, like. How do we, look, again, everybody understands the importance. Like, we're not stupid. Like, we know what's good food, what's bad food. At least most of us, I think, believe we know what's good food and what's bad food. And maybe that's another part of the conversation we can get into. But how is it that we need to retrain our brain, our habits to just make better decisions with food on a more consistent basis?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I love talking about this to entrepreneurs, because what most entrepreneurs do not realize is that they don't understand, I think, how closely their health is related to their wealth. Because if they did, I think they would take it a lot more seriously, right? And one of the things that I think most entrepreneurs don't even think about is how important their brain health is, because your income is determined by your brain, right? Because your brain controls your whole body, and your brain controls your thoughts. Well, you actually control your thoughts. Your brain doesn't actually control. We can talk about that in a few minutes, but and that's the biggest thing, is people don't understand brain health. And I had the amazing pleasure of working with Dr. Daniel Amen a few months ago. I drove out to Los Angeles and I went to his clinic, and Dr. Amen actually scanned my brain. And I started a no alcohol journey about a year ago. I'm 8 months completely alcohol free as of the other day.
Amazing.
And I cannot emphasize enough how important of a role alcohol plays in our lives, guys, for entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs fall into the trap of networking and going out and being social. And a lot of that involves drinks, but the drinks are really hurting our brains. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this, because I want to talk about health in general, but I need you entrepreneurs to know that alcohol is holding you back. It is. It is. It held me back for many years. I'm pretty good at what I do. I've been very successful over the years. I'll be honest, I could potentially be a billionaire right now if it wasn't for alcohol, because I spent 30 years drinking alcohol. I'm 50 years old. I spent 30 years drinking alcohol, and it is so damaging to the brain. We don't realize it. My epiphany moment, Alex, was when I saw a post by Dr. Amen on Instagram about a year ago, and his post was a scan of a brain of a gentleman who had been drinking alcohol for about 20 years. And the brain was filled with holes. It had shrunk in size. So alcohol shrinks your brain, and it literally creates massive holes in the brain. Now, you don't have to be a doctor or a scientist to know that holes in your brain is not a bad thing, right? It's not good. And so, so when I saw that, I felt in my heart that God challenged me. And the challenge that I believe God gave me was to stop drinking alcohol. And I felt like what the Lord said to me was, Sean, are you ready to finally take this seriously and to stop letting this control you? And my answer was yes. And that began my no alcohol journey. But the thing is, guys, the brain is so important, and everything. And here's the thing. So, think about what parts of our body are most important, right? I would argue that our brain is one of the most important parts of our brain. Or our body, rather. Our brain is one of the most important of our body. Our heart is obviously another very important part of our body. And then as a man, we have parts in our body that are also very important as well, right? Well, guess what? Guess what all of those are determined by? Blood flow. Guess what determines blood flow? The food that you put in your body. So if you're not eating the right foods, blood flow is not going properly to our male areas as a male, to our heart, and to our brain. So you're really messing yourself up if you are not consuming the right foods that are optimizing blood flow to the brain. Now, exercise plays a big role in that too, right? But I want to spend a few minutes talking about processed food, because there is nothing more dangerous on the planet than processed food. All of us are eating it. All of us have eaten Oreos, Doritos, Cheez-Its, Goldfish crackers, potato chips, nachos. We've all eaten that stuff. But what has happened, Alex, over the last probably 15 to 20 years is the processed food industry is just decimating our health. And I won't get into the political and what I think are the reasons behind it. Let's just say that sick people are very profitable. Okay. I'm just going to simply say that. Yeah. Sick people are very profitable. So there is no financial incentive to get us healthy because sick people are profitable, right? And so it's good for business when we're sick. So they're feeding us all these processed foods we're gladly accepting. I mean, listen, I love Doritos. I ain't gonna lie. Have I touched a bag of Doritos in probably 5 years? Nope, I won't touch it. But the processed foods are the ones that are the most dangerous. And that's frankly what we're probably eating the most of, because it's convenient. And we are obsessed with convenience nowadays. That's why that's why we use social media, right? Yep. So we're obsessed with convenience, but our obsession with convenience is literally slowly killing us. And that's my message to people. And I'm actually creating a brand new program right now called How to Eat God's Way. And it's all about eating all of the real stuff that God has given us in nature. We have meat, we have fish, we have seafood, we have fruit, we have vegetables, we have all kinds of stuff that God's given us in nature. And all of that stuff is amazing for our bodies and brings health and healing, but we don't want that stuff. We want the Doritos, the Oreos, and all that crap and everything. And that's the stuff that's really, really bad for us. And I'll very briefly explain why. If y'all have to read ingredients. If you buy a food and you do not read ingredients, it's just the most ludicrous thing that you could ever possibly do. Because if you take something and you go to the grocery store. By the way, I don't shop at a grocery store. I only shop either at my local farmer's market or my local farmers, because most of the food that's in the grocery store is actually dangerous for you. And I know that's scary for some people to hear. It's like, Sean, what do you mean food at the grocery store is dangerous for you? It's just the world that we live in. Right. You have to make better choices. And so every Saturday morning, my family and I are going to the farmer's market, and we're shopping for the week at the farmer's market. I buy my vegetables there. I buy my meat there. I buy my eggs there. I buy my milk there. I buy everything there. And I eat, but here's the thing, I even buy my treats there. And this is why, because the local farmers are actually using good quality ingredients. And when you're eating a treat, And sugar is one of the most deadliest ingredients on the planet. So you have to be very, very careful with sugar. Sugar feeds cancer cells in the body. So it's one of the biggest reasons to stay away from sugar. But sugar also spikes inflammation in the body, which is the number one cause of sickness and disease. So when you're eating sugar on a regular basis, you're destroying your body. You're also destroying your brain. The sugar is the reason why people get Alzheimer's and dementia. Alzheimer's and dementia is now called type 3 diabetes, right?
Wow.
So, it's just a big deal, man. And most of us are not taking this seriously. And I'm here to kind of ring the bell like Tom does. I'm here to ring the bell and just try to just shine some light on this for folks and help people to get a better understanding. I don't expect people to radically change all of their habits just because they hear me tell them that they shouldn't be doing it. But I do hope that you take it to heart and you start to make changes, because if you don't, you will end up in a hospital bed. And frankly, Alex, that was partly what began my journey. I had a massive heart attack. The cardiologist walked into my room and looked at me and told me that someone up there must be watching out for me, because had I walked into the ER 30 seconds later, I'd be dead. 30 seconds. That's what stood in between me and death, was 30 seconds. Because as I walked into the ER, I was literally having a massive heart attack. When I walked in and told them I wasn't feeling good, the nurse immediately hooked me up to an EKG machine. And the next thing I know, she's screaming out in the ER, holy shit, he's having a heart attack. You want to talk about your life flashing before your very eyes? Oh my God, dude.
Incredible.
And I made a commitment. Yeah. And brother, I made a commitment in that moment because I lived. I made a commitment to myself and to God and my family, to myself, God, and my family, that I was going to begin to take my health seriously.
Yeah.
And I am, at the age of 50, I'm healthier than I've ever been in my life. I'm in better shape than I've ever been in my life. And it's all because of the food choices that I changed. And it's kind of crazy to think that food plays such a huge role in our lives, but it does. And because we eat it all the time, but we don't ever take the time to learn what we're eating. If you turn over a bag of Doritos, you're going to see about 30 ingredients in that thing that you cannot pronounce most of the ingredients. Those are dangerous chemicals that are very dangerous to the human body. God didn't give us chemicals to put in our body. God didn't give us chemicals, period. Man made that. So
Right.
When we eat God's way and we eat the stuff that he gave us in nature, we're going to be healthy. When we don't, we're not. It's really that simple.
Yeah. And I think people tend to overcomplicate it. And if I'm being honest, myself included at times, I want to ask you a question about specific ingredients that we need to avoid. But before I go to that particular question, it's often happens, Sean, and you've experienced this in your health, obviously, which, by the way, thank you for sharing the powerful testimony. But, it's not until the pain is great enough that sometimes causes us to make a shift in our lives. It could be in business,
You're right.
financially, it could be relationally. And, you hear a story like yours where the doctor said, dude, half a minute later and you'd be dead. You'd be 6 feet under, right? It's easy to see how, like, you'd make a change. Although some people still, even with that, don't make the change. How do we avoid having to get to that point of near life or death, or where the pain is so great? In other words, how can people just start to shift their habits and commit to their health without having to experience the pain that you went through years ago?
Yeah, it's really easy, man. Just cut down on sugar, alcohol, and processed foods. Those are I call them the deadly three: sugar, alcohol, and processed foods. Because sugar feeds cancer cells in the body. It's extremely dangerous. I mentioned that a few minutes ago. Alcohol is very dangerous to our bodies too. It's literally poison. And then processed foods. Those are the three worst things. And I understand we all like them. But see, here's the thing, right? I have people say that to me all the time, but I love eating that. But do you want to die? I mean, here's the thing, guys, like how important is this to you? Because I don't give a damn if you want to eat those Doritos or not. You're going to keep eating them if you know that they are literally slowly killing you. Like, what asinine approach to life is that?
Yeah.
Right. So, and again, if you're an entrepreneur and your livelihood is your brain power and you being alive and you being successful, you have to have the right fuel to do that. If you're shoving shit in your mouth all the time, you're not going to. I would argue that some people can still be successful that way. But so there's probably people watching and saying, oh man, I eat that stuff all the time and I make $1 million a year. What if you changed your habits and you made $3 million a year?
Yeah. Hey there, stop. I promised to get you back to the show, but let me ask you a couple of questions. Are you happy with the money that you're making in your real estate business? Are you generating any cash flow? Are you building wealth? Do you feel like you're making progress, or are you just constantly chasing deals and going after the next transaction and the next transaction? Well, I can tell you from personal experience that there's an easier way, and it's not with single family homes. I believe that self-storage is the best asset class in real estate, hands down, because we're not dealing with tenants, toilets, there's automation, it's a recession-resistant asset class, and it's a business that has the benefits of real estate. If what you're ultimately after is cash flow, building wealth, and time freedom, I want to invite you to just take a few minutes to apply. Go to www.storagewins.com, where you can learn more about our Storage Wins coaching program. And I can help you generate cash flow from your first storage facility within the next 6 to 12 months without needing to use your money or even needing any experience. So head over to www.storagewins.com. And if we like what you have to say, we'll schedule a call. And I look forward to connecting with you. Now back to the show. And the question I once heard that was posed, it says, are you living to eat or are you eating to live?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just,
as people of faith, are we honoring God with our bodies? Right. I know you're a person of faith too, right? Like, right. Are we honoring God with our bodies? And the answer to that a lot of times is no. And I spent many years being guilty of that as well. But I just made the decision to change,
Yeah, I love it. So obviously alcohol, avoid alcohol, sugar, processed foods. And guys, here's the thing. I know there's going to be somebody, if not multiple people out there like, well, duh, Alex, like, thanks for breaking ground on here, like saying to avoid. But here's the thing. It's one thing. And that's why I asked Sean some of these questions. Like, it's one thing to know it, but are you choosing short-term pleasure over long-term gain? Right. And then if so, you need to reevaluate.
Yes. 100,000%. This is why I tell people, you are sacrificing your health for something that tastes good for 30 damn seconds. Come on. Yeah. Really? Yeah. So the cake tastes good for, or maybe it takes you a few minutes to eat it, right? You are sacrificing your health for something that is a few minutes of pleasure. It's ludicrous. It really is. It's ludicrous. I don't understand that way of thinking. But
Sean, are you an all or nothing type of coach / like, is that your school of thought? Or would you say, hey, look, moderation, right? Like, if you're going to have a cheat meal, I notice I didn't say a cheat day. If you're going to have a cheat meal, or if you're going to have the ice cream because you want to enjoy yourself, like, dude, go for it. It's not going to kill you. Just don't make it a habit. Or are you like, no, like, eliminate it all?
I never tell people to, now, I personally am an all or nothing person, right? That's me personally. I don't teach that way because I don't believe that most people are going to ever actually do that. It takes a lot of determination and willpower and strength and courage to really go all in for something you should be doing, right? But that's just my personality. That's why I cold turkey quit drinking after 30 years. I probably shouldn't have necessarily done it that way, to be honest with you. I mean, in hindsight, I look back, I'm like, damn, I just quit something cold turkey that I was addicted to for 30 years. But that's just my personality, right? And so, but I do believe very much, Alex, in moderation. However, I preface that by saying most of you are lying to yourself by telling yourself that you're going to actually do something in moderation, because you're probably not. And it's not all their fault, though. That's the thing, because these foods, I'll share a video with you a little bit later today that Tom actually sent to me this morning, because I'm starting to have a lot of conversation with him about health, and he's starting to kind of see the truth about all this stuff. And so Tom sent me this video this morning. It was a guy named Kaylee Means. He's a well-known New York Times author, and he's a reporter. And he was on the Dr. Phil show the other day, and he was talking about how the food companies, literally these food companies, Kraft and General Mills and Kellogg and all these companies, I'll send you this video. They have bribed the scientists. They have bribed the schools, parents, you all got to really, 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 really take this stuff seriously, parents. There is weed killer in your kids' foods. It's the scientific name for it is glyphosate. It's a weird world we live in, man. I never thought we'd have to pay this close attention to this stuff, but we do. And if you don't, there is very serious repercussion. But because of all this stuff showing up, so basically what Dr. Phil said to this guy, Kaylee, is he goes, so what you're telling me is the food companies are bribing the scientists, the school, they're bribing everyone to lie and say that this stuff isn't bad, and they're covering up the truth. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. It's done right in front of our faces, and most of us are blind to it. We're just not seeing it. Yeah. So if you like to be manipulated, then keep eating the way you're eating. But if you want to take control of this and not be manipulated, you got to make some changes, man.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love the way that, and by the way, you can tell how passionate you are and how much you believe in what you preach and teach and walk, right? Because you're a living billboard, right? For what
Yeah.
you talk
It's
about.
important, man.
It
Yeah.
100%, dude. I got one more
Well, I
question
love
for you.
people.
Yeah, no, I know you do, dude. I can see
Yeah,
it.
that's
I
just
can
me.
feel it.
That's just how God's wired me.
Yeah. Man, health is like, we could talk about health forever, right? Like, so
Yeah, yeah.
I don't plan to do the topic of health and wellness any justice on a half hour, 45-minute podcast. But let me ask you let me ask you one more question, and then I want to take a hard left and ask you some social media stuff. Okay.
Yeah, please. Okay.
You just touched on one of them. What are some of the ingredients? Like, and I know there's tons, right? But like, what are some top main ones that you find, Sean, in a lot of the foods that we buy in grocery stores? Like, when people turn over the label, right? What are some of maybe a handful of ingredients people need to be like folic acid is one of them that I didn't know much about folic acid. And then I heard Gary Brecka talking about like how folic acid is a killer. That's something I always tend to look for. Does it have folic acid? What are some others?
Well, it's funny that you said folic acid because I was actually just talking to someone about that. I feel like that's a little over exaggerated, but that's just my personal thing. If I'm going to talk to anything about being bad, folic acid is an actual vitamin. Not any vitamins that are consumed too much can actually be bad for the body, but there's different there's different sprays that are being used on the crops that have folic acid in it, but they have other things in it too. So, but here's the thing. This is the real dangerous thing, right? First of all, there's two ingredients that I can think of immediately that I would highly caution anyone of. The number one is high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is arguably the most dangerous ingredient on the planet. Here's why.
Wow.
It's 100 times worse than sugar. So sugar, very bad for the body, feeds cancer cells in the body. The reason why sugar is so bad for the body is because sugar spikes blood sugar. Most people do not understand that losing weight is actually unbelievably easy. It's all you have now, easy to understand how, not necessarily easy to do, because all you have to do is focus on managing your blood sugar. There's all these different diets out there. There's carnivore, there's keto, there's Whole30, there's paleo, there's all this stuff. There's a million different programs. Here's the thing. Guess what? They all work if you work, right? They all work.
Yeah.
Some better than others. I would argue that keto burns fat faster simply because it's manipulating the body to use stored fat for energy. And that's why keto works so well. But I'm not an advocate of not eating carbs because there's a lot of good, healthy carbs out there, right? But high fructose corn syrup. So there's something called the glycemic index, right, Alex? Mm-hmm. And on the glycemic index, we start at 0 and we go up to 100, right? Sugar is a 50 on the glycemic index. So sugar is right in the middle. High fructose corn syrup is a 100. So it is literally twice as bad. Now, who's eating more high fructose corn syrup than anyone?
Kids.
Our children. Because we're not paying attention to what's in their food and we're giving them a bunch of stuff that has high fructose corn syrup in it. And so that's what breaks my heart about the issue of high fructose corn syrup, because most parents are feeding this stuff to their kids every single day without any attention whatsoever to how bad it is for them. So because I know how bad sugar is for you, and sugar is only a 50 on the glycemic index, if high fructose corn syrup is 100, I am not touching anything that has high fructose corn syrup, because it's also derived from GMO crops, and there's a whole nother story in that. So high fructose corn syrup would be my number one most dangerous ingredient on the planet that especially parents have to avoid more than anything. Number two would be, and this is going to shock some people, number two would be anything in the United States, and I'll expound on that in a minute, but anything in the United States that is made with wheat. Why wheat? Because we have an epidemic that is in our nation right now, and it's called glyphosate. And glyphosate is essentially the weed killer Roundup. It is literally Roundup weed killer. Okay. Years ago, what happened, Alex, is farmers started using Roundup weed killer on their crops to kill the bugs so that the crops wouldn't be destroyed, right? It was a very cheap and inexpensive way to manage a problem that they had, right? So the problem is they were just focused on managing the problem as cheaply as they could, not as effectively as they could, right? So what they started doing is they start spraying all these crops with Roundup weed killer. and it's getting into everything. So there's a group of scientists, Alex, called the Environmental Working Group. Some great friends of mine. You can go to their website. It's ewg.org.
Okay.
And you can read all these scientific studies, but there is Roundup weed killer showing up in Cheerios, in Goldfish crackers, in Oreos, in all wheat products. Also, any store-bought wheat bread is going to have glyphosate in it. It's in our oats. It's in so many different things. But the worst thing is, so I'll give you a great analogy on this. And this is why I said US-based products. Because guess what? Glyphosate, Alex, is banned in 80 countries, but the United States. So it's banned in 80 different countries. And again, it's all money, man. It's all money. You know this. I know this. It's all money. So, but the glyphosate thing is a really big deal. And why is it a big deal? What's really bad for our bodies? The World Health Organization finally just called glyphosate a carcinogen that they know causes cancer, right? So it took them years to finally admit that. They finally admitted it, but they called it a probable carcinogen. But there's a ton of scientific evidence that shows how bad this is for us. But here's the thing. Y'all really want to eat something that could kill you? I mean, are you willing to roll that dice? Really?
Right.
Like, are you really willing to roll that dice? Oh yeah, I'll keep eating something that's got a weed killer in it because, it's not going to hurt me. What? Really? So it's a really big deal. And so how I actually learned about this, well, I learned about it years ago, but I had a friend who a couple of years ago came to me and she says, hey, she goes, my boyfriend just came back from Italy and he brought some flour and I'm going to make bread with it. And she's like, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't really eat that stuff. And she's like, no. She goes, it's because the flour came from Italy. She's like, it doesn't have glyphosate on it. And she's like, so she tells me that her boyfriend did this. He's a big health guy too. She tells me that her boyfriend did this experiment and he's got this continuous glucose monitor he's got on his body. And what he did was he ate a couple slices of the bread, just regular white bread, which is supposedly really bad for you, right? But so she made the bread, just regular white bread, and I ate a couple slices of it. Guess what didn't happen? My blood sugar didn't spike. It was not the bread. It was the flour used in the bread. And almost all U.S. flour has glyphosate in it. So if you want to not get glyphosate in your bread, if you're making it yourself, you're going to have to find not glyphosate-free bread or just buy it from in another country. But it's crazy that that's the case, right? And so we have this obsession with in America with carbs being bad for us. And you could argue that most carbs are bad for us because of the type of carbs we're eating, right? Because we're eating sugar and we're eating Doritos and Oreos and crap like that, right? But it's not just the product itself. It's actually the way that it is made. So again, another funny story. I had some friends that were in Switzerland not too long ago. And they ate a bunch of sweets while they were in Switzerland. And when they came back, they're like, man, we're so shocked. We didn't gain any weight. I'm like, that's because of how it's made. Now I will never advocate eating sugar on a regular basis because still the sugar is very bad for you. Sugar is bad no matter what.
Yeah.
But if you have to eat sweets, at least eat something that doesn't have all the other crap in it too, so that you're giving your, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, dude, I'm gonna share one super quick story. And then guys, what I'm going to do is, this wasn't planned, but it just feels right. There's way too much more to get into with Sean, especially not just on the health side, but I want to dedicate an episode to just the social media stuff because I know that.
Oh yeah.
So are you game to come back on for like a part 2 episode to this?
Heck yeah, brother. Heck yeah.
So guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this one super quick story just on Sean's last point. And then we're actually going to end this podcast. We're going to keep this one just focused on some of the health stuff. And then we're going to have Sean back on the next podcast to talk specifically about how you can leverage social media, specifically Reels, to generate more leads and kind of explode your business. But dude, last year, my family and we traveled with some friends, some close friends of ours. And we spent 3 weeks and a couple days in Italy, going all over Italy. Yeah. It was a big trip. Dude, I'm not kidding you when I tell you I ate pasta basically every single day. And I think I came back and maybe only gained 3 or 4 pounds when I was thinking I was going to. The way they make the food over there is different. It just doesn't have all the crap it does here in the States.
Totally different, man. Totally different. It's because their government bans those ingredients. Our government says, eat it all, eat it all. Theirs says, no, don't eat it. It's going to kill you. But that's the thing, man. So even pasta in Italy, like You can go to Italy and eat all the pasta you want. It's not even close to being bad for you like it is here. I'll never advocate eating pasta all the time, but who doesn't love pasta? I mean, come on. But
Right.
in Italy, it's a whole different ballgame because they actually ban the ingredients.
Yeah.
And I realize people are hearing this and you probably get really mad. And most people say, oh, why does the government do this to us? Why do you do it to you? Stop blaming other people for your problems, man. Like, we can blame the government all day long. They ain't gonna do jack shit about it. We know that. We have a lifetime of history to prove that. So who cares what they do? You vote with your dollars. That's the problem. You vote with your dollars. So if you want them to stop making the food and stop buying the shit all the time, like, if you do something about it, stop pushing wrong.
I love it, man. Well, Sean, dude, man, I love your passion and your energy, dude. Again, you have so much to share in this topic. Guys, make sure to plug into the next episode. I'm bringing Sean back on so we can dedicate an entire episode to how you can leverage social media to generate more leads and just get more brand awareness, explode your business, because Sean is crushing when it comes to that, not just his health and how he works with people. Sean, where do people connect with you? How can they reach out to you?
Well, my website is alifefullyalive.com, alifefullyalive.com. You can, if anyone wants to try out my programs, I have a free ebook. It's called How to Lose 30 Pounds in 30 Days. That is more focused on the weight loss aspect. I started to have a lot of people. This is actually really cool. And this actually started as a result of Tom's group, but I started to have dads come to me and man, dads, I applaud you for this because women tend to care more about health than men do. But I've had dads come to me and hire me to coach them because they want me to help get their whole family healthy. And I'm like, oh my God, that touches my heart in a powerful way. I got to tell you, man. Wyatt was the first one in Tom's group that came to me and said, hey, man, I need your help. I need your help for me, but also for my family. And so he signed up for my 90-day coaching program. So he wanted me to help get his whole family healthy. I have so much respect for that. Oh my God, so much respect. But on social media, I am the Sean Christopher on Instagram, on Facebook. You just search for Sean Christopher and you'll find me there. And like I said, the website, but my free ebook is available on my website as well. So they can check that out also.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll include the link in the show notes. Sean, well, man, I just kind of sprung this on you, but dude, we're going to have you back for part 2 on the episode. So stick around, guys.
I love it, man.
Make sure that you are subscribed so that every single Monday morning you are notified when a new episode on the Flip Empire Show comes out. As you've seen, I've gone on a tear lately, just bringing some of the best on here to share their area of expertise so that it can impact you in a positive way in your life, your business. Take something you heard in this show, apply it to your life. Remember, alcohol, sugar, processed foods, eliminate those things, watch your life change. If nothing else, if you consume all 3, pick one, eliminate it, see how you feel, then go to the next one. So guys, thank you so much for everything. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next one. Hope you enjoyed that episode. But before you go, I've had a lot of people recently reach out to me wanting to learn more about Ascend, wanting to understand how the mastermind component works, how the coaching relationship works. And so right now we're actually on a waiting list. But what I would encourage you to do is if you think you're the right fit and you think you could benefit from being a part of our community, head over to ascendyoursuccess.com, watch the short video, and then just click the apply to join button below. And then we'll be in contact with you if and when a spot opens up. So really appreciate you listening to Flip Empire here, and I look forward to connecting with you on the next show. Take care.